There is a specific reason why some people build profitable online businesses in months, while others spend years creating content that nobody watches or buys from. The difference has nothing to do with luck, connections, or being first to market. It is about finding a niche so precisely aligned with who you are that success becomes inevitable rather than impossible. Welcome to KB Bluetree, where we help working professionals turn their expertise into sustainable online businesses without quitting their day jobs or burning out in the process. Over the years, we have guided hundreds of people through the niche discovery process, and we have identified the exact framework that separates those who build thriving businesses from those who waste years in the wrong space. Today, we are breaking down the complete system for finding your profitable niche online. This is not about following trends or copying what successful creators are doing. This is about uncovering the intersection of your unique strengths, market demand, and personal sustainability so you can build something that generates income and fulfillment for decades, not just months. By the end of this video, you will have a proven framework for identifying your niche, validating its profitability, and positioning yourself as the obvious choice for your ideal audience. Problem here is the situation most people find themselves in when trying to build an online presence. You know you want to create something meaningful, maybe turn your knowledge into a business or establish yourself as an authority in your field. But every time you sit down to choose your niche, you freeze because the options feel overwhelming and the stakes feel incredibly high. You start researching what niches are profitable and find yourself drowning in conflicting advice. Some experts tell you to follow your passion regardless of market demand. Others say passion is irrelevant and you should only chase money. You see people succeeding in spaces that bore you to tears, and you see people you admire struggling in niches you find fascinating. So you do what seems logical. You pick something broad to keep your options open. You position yourself as a general business coach, a lifestyle content creator, or a marketing consultant. You tell yourself that casting a wide net will attract more opportunities, but the opposite happens. Your content gets ignored because it is too generic. Your message does not resonate because it tries to speak to everyone and ends up connecting with no one. Months pass, and you have nothing to show for your efforts, except growing doubt about whether this online business thing actually works for people like you. Let us talk about what is really happening underneath this struggle. The reason niche selection feels impossible is because most people approach it backwards. They start by looking at the market, analyzing competition, and trying to find gaps they can fill. This seems logical, but it ignores a fundamental truth about sustainable online success. Your niche is not something you find in market research alone. It is something you uncover at the intersection of three critical elements: what you are genuinely knowledgeable about through real experience, what people actively need help with and will pay to solve, and what you can talk about consistently for years without burning out or losing interest. Miss any one of these three, and you are building on an unstable foundation. Most people miss the third element entirely. They choose niches based purely on expertise and market demand, then wonder why they feel drained after 6 months of content creation. They picked something profitable but personally unsustainable. Or they go the opposite direction and choose something they love but that has no market demand, then wonder why nobody buys despite their passion and expertise. The root cause is not lack of intelligence or capability. It is the absence of a systematic framework for evaluating all three elements simultaneously. Here is what actually works. Instead of guessing or copying what others do, we use a systematic framework that reveals your optimal niche through structured analysis and validation. Solutions. The framework we use at KB Bluetree has 3 phases, and each phase builds on the previous one to create absolute clarity. This is the exact process our most successful clients use to identify niches that generate both profit and personal fulfillment. Phase 1 is the experience inventory. Most people underestimate the value of their unique experience because they assume expertise requires formal credentials or decades in a field. That is false. Your niche should emerge from the intersection of 3 experience categories: professional experience, the skills and knowledge you have developed through your career; personal transformation experience, the challenges you have overcome and the results you have achieved in your own life; and intersection experience, where your professional skills solve personal problems you understand deeply. Spend time documenting everything in these 3 categories. Write down every role you have held, every significant challenge you have faced, every skill you have developed, and every result you have achieved. Phase 2 is demand validation. Once you have your experience inventory, you need to identify which elements have real market demand. This is not about gut feelings or assumptions. It is about systematic research across 4 validation channels. Search volume: use keyword research tools to identify how many people are actively searching for solutions in your potential niches. Community presence: find online communities, forums, and groups where your target audience gathers and analyze what questions they ask repeatedly. Competition analysis: identify who is successfully serving your potential niche and study what they offer and how they position themselves. And purchasing behavior: look for evidence that people are actively paying for solutions in your space. A niche with strong demand will show clear evidence across all 4 channels. Phase 3 is the sustainability test. This is where most people skip ahead and end up choosing niches that burn them out. You need to honestly assess whether you can sustain effort in this niche for 3 to 5 years minimum. Apply 3 filters. The content creation test: can you generate ideas for content in this niche every week without running dry? The conversation test: can you have the same types of conversations with clients or audience members repeatedly without losing energy? And the growth test: does this niche have enough depth that you can continue learning and evolving within it for years? Now let us get specific about implementation. For your experience inventory, block out 2 hours this week with 0 distractions. Create a document with 3 sections corresponding to the 3 experience categories. In each section, write freely without editing or judging what comes out. Your goal is quantity first, capturing everything before you evaluate anything. For demand validation, choose your top 3 potential niches from your inventory. For each one, spend 1 hour researching across the 4 validation channels. Use free tools like Google Keyword Planner for search volume. Join 3 active communities where your audience hangs out and spend time reading their discussions. Identify 5 successful people or businesses serving similar audiences and analyze their offerings. Document everything you find in a simple spreadsheet so you can compare objectively. For the sustainability test, imagine yourself 3 years from now working in each potential niche. Write out what a typical week would look like. What content are you creating? What conversations are you having? What problems are you solving? Pay attention to your emotional response as you write. Excitement and curiosity are green lights. Dread or boredom are red flags you should not ignore. The magic happens when you find the overlap where your unique experience meets validated market demand and personal sustainability. Success story: let me share what happened with Alexa, a client who came to KB Bluetree after spending 18 months trying to build a health and wellness coaching business. Alexa had certifications, knowledge, and genuine passion for helping people, but her business was stuck at barely $3,000 a year because her positioning was too broad and her message was not resonating. We took Alexa through the 3-phase framework. In her experience inventory, we discovered something fascinating. Her professional background was in project management for construction companies, which seemed completely unrelated to health coaching. But when we explored her personal transformation experience, she had overcome chronic fatigue and burnout specifically caused by the demands of her high-stress corporate career. The intersection was powerful. Instead of positioning as a generic health coach, Alexa repositioned her niche specifically to help corporate project managers and operations professionals overcome burnout and build sustainable energy systems without leaving their careers. Her demand validation revealed this was a drastically underserved niche with strong search volume and active communities desperately seeking solutions. The sustainability test confirmed she could talk about this intersection endlessly because she lived it daily. Within 6 months of implementing her refined niche, Alexa generated over $45,000 in coaching revenue. More importantly, her client results skyrocketed because she was working with people whose challenges she understood at a cellular level. She recently told us that finding her precise niche did not just change her business, it gave her permission to fully own her unique story instead of trying to fit into someone else's template. Call to action here is your immediate action step. Before you create any more content or try to build your audience further, complete phase 1 of the framework this week. Set aside those 2 hours and do your complete experience inventory across all 3 categories. Document everything without judgment. You will be surprised by what emerges when you give yourself permission to see your full experience as valuable. If this resonated with you, like and subscribe to KB Bluetree for more insightful content that helps you build a sustainable online business aligned with who you actually are. We publish frameworks every week that cut through the noise and give you clear, actionable systems. Remember, your niche is not something you invent or copy. It is something you uncover by honestly examining the intersection of your experience, market demand, and personal sustainability. When you find that intersection, everything becomes easier because you are finally working with your natural strengths instead of against them. We will see you in the next video.